This one almost burned. It was hotter than hell. When I was in Minnesota, burning my leg. I had to talk to Mike about it.
Yeah.
It's working again, but
I like feedback.
huh?
I like feedback.
Feedback is good,
Nice high pitched.
as Robin Williams would say.
He would also say something like, "Good morning, Vietnam."
You'll be on in 1 second as soon as we get our signal up, okay?
All right, I'll wait for you. I'll hold on.
Okay, just after we introduce ourselves, I'll say we're going to our first caller. That'll be you, okay?
All right.
From Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
Well, hey, we're back.
Hey,
This is City Councilman Kaz Kwiatkowski and my good friend and sidekick
Joe Schmo
from Idaho.
from Idaho.
Yeah, that's not you, DJ.
DJ Barker.
Right, and we have our first caller already. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, I want to let you know a week ago, when they had the area test, they had to close down State Street from 12th all the way down.
Right.
And I had trouble with the trolley driver. And they told me to catch it on 14th and State, which I did. And so he pulls up, and he's halfway on the dirt. And I told him, you're going to have to back up a little bit. How would I get on if you drop the ramp? And he said, I said, how would I get on? He couldn't back up, so I wouldn't get on. So I called the bus company, and they said they'd come up with the safety issue and that. Well, they come up with the safety issue that there's no one to back them up and that. Well, why don't they put cameras in the back of the buses and have a screen where he's sitting?
Mm-hmm. Why did he?
Go in the back.
Why did he pull on the curb? He couldn't.
He couldn't know, but he could have backed up a little bit because he was inside the curb. Them bump out curbs.
Yeah.
He was in one of them, so that no one could pull up in the back of him. So he could have backed up.
And you don't think you got a satisfactory answer from the EMTA, right?
Right. So I called them up. I talked to the woman at the office. Well, she said it's a safety issue. If no one's in the back of the bus to back them up, he can't back up. I said, well, you had to bump out curbs. No one could be back there. So you could have backed up a couple, at least a foot.
It seems like he didn't turn in properly or something. Why don't you? You know what? You have my number, don't you?
Yeah, I got your number.
Why don't you call me and let's see, how can we do this?
Okay, and another thing.
I'll have to meet you and then we can call together, okay?
Yeah, hey, I'll tell you what, another thing too, about that place on 38th Street.
Yeah, I looked at that now.
Hey,
I turned that in before I went on my vacation.
you said you'll check that out.
Yeah, I did check it out. I took some pictures, and I believe they're building. If I saw it right, aren't they building a curb there?
I don't know. Well, they did put a curb in, a handicap curb, but they didn't put nothing in front of the bus stop.
Well, you know what we'll have to do, since they did that, we'll have to talk to EMTA when you and I get together.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll, I want you near me when we talk so that, if you think, you're more inclined with it.
Okay, yeah, I have to go to your office.
Well, I don't have an office no more. I'll have to meet you somewhere.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you're over there right by Taco Bell, right?
Huh?
Aren't you by Taco Bell or?
Yeah, I live by Taco Bell.
Yeah, maybe we can meet over there or something, and we'll call together.
Okay, all right.
And then, you know, because I saw that, I took some pictures, I turned it into engineering. They said they were going to look at it, but they weren't sure if they were doing a knockout curb when I called them, because it was late at night. It was after, you know, they were
Another thing, you know, they didn't
But
put
I think they-
another layer of blacktop.
they'll probably do that. They usually do, when the companies contract for that, they'll do one layer all at once, and then they'll do another layer all at once.
Oh, okay, all
Yes.
right, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, it kind of makes it easier for them, so they get the crew doing the one thing all the time. And in the meantime, it's like an inconvenience to the, you know, to the public, because you got, with only one layer, you probably got, you know, a little, it's not as good. But I do believe when I looked at it, when I was away, I was kind of looking at the situation. I was in contact, and I thought it looked like they were putting curbs in at 38th Street there.
Yeah, well, they put curbs on 37th there. They put
Right.
a handicap curb in.
So now we got to get either EMTA or the, because, boy, you know, it's an interesting question, because when I looked at it, Tops has blacktop all the way down. If you've ever been on 38th Street, TJ.
Yeah.
They got, where the city's right of way is, it's all blacktopped.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like you can drive up on there if you want to, you know.
Yeah, right.
But I'm not sure whose responsibility it is. It's usually the property owner, but in this case,
wow.
Tell
you what.
maybe EMTA would throw a little blacktop out there.
Yeah, hey, I sent a call for a meeting this week, because I got a couple appointments this week.
Okay, well, then next week if you want, just call, you got my number, right?
Yeah, I got your number.
Yeah, because you called me before, we'll just, you know, I'll set up, you and I will meet, eat like Taco Bell or someplace for coffee or something.
Yeah,
We'll make a phone call.
all right.
Or we'll do it, you know, do it outside your apartment, whatever.
Okay, all right.
But we'll do it together, and then I'll ask them, you know, if we can get some blacktop up there.
All right.
Somebody should do it, because it's the only stretch that's really bad. The
Yeah.
rest of it's all nice. It's
Yeah.
right in front of the bus station where,
Okay, well, thank you very much, sir.
okay, we'll try to see what, you know, like I say, I don't know whose responsibility is, and if I get a chance, I'll jump up to engineering right after the show here, and see if they know anything.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay,
All right.
yeah, he has I looked and he does have it's not real good. If it rains, you're gonna get,
Yeah,
not good with wheelchairs or, you know, anybody really,
yeah, I got you.
walkers.
Well, hey, I got a couple of questions, actually,
Wow,
after
hey,
this phone call.
you bringing them out. Go ahead, caller.
Oh, yes, I want to thank you. 2 weeks ago, I was on the phone. The property on 39th and Wagner, the east side of Wagner, was cleaned up within 2 days, 3 days after I talked to you, and you called the enforcement.
Yeah, we called Andy Zimmerman, I believe.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, in fact, I wasn't perfectly satisfied with 38th Street, but I see that the car wash got trimmed back a few feet too.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, not as much as I'd wanted to, but, you know, little battles at a time, but I'm glad they took care of you. I was away, so I was gonna, you know, try to find, I hope somebody would call and tell me, but I'll have to thank Andy for following through then.
Probably not a lot of people thank you, so I just want to do that. Thank you.
Well, thank you for calling back.
First off, I want to say we had a really good time at Celebrate Erie.
I missed it this year.
We were down there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and the tapings went well for us. We didn't have any technical issues. Everything went well. People enjoyed it. We streamed it live, and we broadcast it live on the channel. Everything went well.
You're gonna replay it too, probably?
It's going to be replayed, and DVDs will be available for sale in a couple of weeks once I get everything ironed out and burned off the hard drive. I just had a couple of questions about Celebrate Erie and local vendors.
I'll try to answer it, but go ahead.
Yeah, every local vendor I talk to down right by the main stage area seem to be having problems with people coming in, giving them business during the time of Celebrate Erie, either because they said that they were blocked off by everything going on, or people were for some reason just going and, paying $8 for 3 deep fried Oreos and not coming up to the local businesses. The wrap place, the Viva Wraps, right next to where we set up, they had to close down at 4 o'clock on Saturday and not even open on Sunday because they said their business was so bad.
Where were the local merchants?
The local merchants across the street, I talked to Subway, I talked to Viva Wraps.
Oh, it's Viva Wrap? I apologize. Is that a store now, or?
Yeah, it's right on the corner. It's right by the Army surplus store, Happy Garden Chinese.
I hadn't even noticed that they opened.
They've actually been there for a couple of years. It's changed places. The owners have changed over the last couple of years, 2 or 3 owners. But
yeah, like McDonald's used to do a pretty good business.
McDonald's still does really good because of their dollar menu, but a lot of the vendors I talked to, not vendors, but the store owners in the area were kind of not happy because they didn't have I don't know if they were offered the ability to set up and have booths or whatever, but they were mainly upset because all these out-of-town places come in and sell this outrageously priced food. So I was wondering if there was something we could do to make sure that the local food, store owners and whatnot.
What I can do is ask the organizers if they went around and offered the local merchants, at least hopefully the ones in the area.
Yeah, at least, because the main stage area was, blocked up a little bit, and they just seemed to have problems getting customers. And like I said, they closed at 4 o'clock
Well,
on
I've always
Saturday.
said this, that, and I got in a battle with, and people call me, sometimes they say, well, you got to look at the bigger picture. I said, well, here's the thing. I worked in the private sector, in the retail for a while.
Yeah.
I was an accountant at a place, and I can tell you that when you close down for 2 or 3 days, okay, it does affect your bottom line, okay?
Right.
If your customers can't get there, and it doesn't affect everybody the same way, like, and I'll give you an example, like during Roar on the Shore, if you're a bar, you're going to make out pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay? No, I mean, it's just a fact.
It is a fact.
And some of the restaurants may make out, depending on their price range and all that.
Right.
But if you're a top shelf restaurant and you're used to having customers come in dressed and they're more elderly, they're probably not going to walk across the park from the parking ramp.
Right.
Not dressed, to the nines like some people do when they go out to eat, And in that case, I think some people get hurt.
Yeah.
I think it's true that when you have a celebration that you try to do the best you can to draw customers in.
Right.
But, it becomes difficult, and I'm sure this is why I would have hoped that someday between the DID and the downtown and the city and all that, that they interview these people and we find out how we can help them. And I'm not sure about, I'm going to mark this down, whether they're, made aware of, anybody can buy a booth. I don't know if they're told the procedure.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
They do that when they have the, what do you call that, the first night? Where they have all the restaurant, they close off the park and they have a few restaurants in there.
Okay.
So, they do a job like that, but I'm not sure, I'm not sure how much they want for the booths. That may be a...
Right. Yeah, so I just thought I'd bring that to your attention.
Yeah, I'm glad, I've always thought there were people out there that were complaining. I wish somebody would, it's not that you're negative, but I think those are things that if they would bring it to someone's attention, if you ever run into it again, tell them to...
oh, I will. I eat down there all the time.
Yeah, tell them to bring it to somebody's attention, like myself.
Yeah.
And, I'd be glad to push for them. I get accused sometimes of, like I say, I'm not negative, but I look at, we got to be careful how we handle people that do business in town all year.
Right.
That we don't hurt their business.
Right.
Sometimes you can make out when we have all these festivals, but sometimes...
Oh, yeah. Oh, and I'm definitely not trying to be negative. It was a great festival. We had fun. The bands were fantastic. Everybody seemed to have a good time. it wasn't like some other festivals where the alcohol seemed to be the focus. This looked more family-friendly than
Well, I
other
think-
festivals I've seen.
I think the one thing they do with the alcohol here, at least,
Yeah.
they try to keep it in, I think, in a cordoned-off area.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. I saw families and kids and moms and dads and grandparents, and everybody just seemed to be having a good time.
I'm real disappointed when I was on the airplane and I was reading my Erie newspapers,
Yeah,
and there's a picture of a young lady pouring a Jägermeister down some guy's throat, and I'm going,
yeah.
you can't find anything better on a front page than that. I mean, that's not what we're encouraging, okay? Charity or not, you
I'm
know,
happy to report that I did not see any of that at Celebrate Erie.
and you won't. I mean, Celebrate Erie is a completely different event, and I will applaud the mayor for how he handles it.
Yeah,
That, you know, they try to keep I mean, there's alcohol there, but they try to keep it in the perimeter.
yeah, yeah.
You know, which is okay, because that's what you want to do. But let's be honest, with the other ones, you know, you're, without an open container law, they're roaming the streets, and,
In their own way, every one of them is okay, but they just need to, let people know that maybe certain, you don't want to bring your kids to some of these events, just
well, in the old
because.
days, that's what soured me to the old Celebrate Erie.
Yeah,
They had, like, gambling and stuff in there, and,
oh, wow,
yeah, my daughter got insulted, and after that, I was
wow,
livid. I never went to another one again.
yeah,
And I'm saying, this is not what I want, you know.
yeah. No, this year is pretty good, I have to say.
And I think, you know, over the years, they've calmed it down, at least the liquor.
Yeah,
If I have a problem with anything, I think some of our other events tend to be a little more alcohol orientated.
yeah, yeah.
And,
that, like I said, that's fine. There's a crowd for that, but Celebrate Erie seemed to be different, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. Families were enjoying it. Kids were running around. Everything was great.
yeah, I've been to, I've watched other towns how they handle events, you know,
Yeah,
and, you know, especially where alcohol is concerned.
right.
It's getting to be a real issue, you know. We got to be careful.
Yeah.
And I was laughing because they have these, what they call pedal pubs out of town.
Okay.
They're like 6 to 8 seaters with a driver,
Yeah.
and you're sitting there, and they're very well done. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you have to get a permit.
Sure.
You have to have a licensed driver, you know, by the company, and you rent it, and you ride around the town.
Hey, I don't drink, but I'd like to go hang out in one of
And
those.
I heard they were going to buy one for Erie.
Yeah. I know we had Erie Rickshaw. There was, for a while, we had like the rickshaw where
Yeah,
they
they got
pedal
closed
around.
down by PUC, somebody turned them in.
Yeah, it's too bad. I thought that
And-
was kind of cool.
Yeah, you go out of town, like in New Orleans, they got people with bicycles, like, and they do deliveries with these,
Yeah.
or they take people around town. I don't know if
That sounds cool.
I think we get a little hung up on, we're a little too tight sometimes, you know,
Yeah.
we need to lighten up a little bit, as long as people have insurance and clearances, you know.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that stuff in Erie. Our downtown's not as big, and, you know, but still, you could use it.
Yeah.
But like with these pedal pubs,
Yeah.
they had one out the peninsula, I guess it didn't go.
Wow.
I mean, they do rent those Surreys out there.
Yeah, they have the Surrey.
But this thing didn't work because it's like more for a party on wheels.
Sure.
And I heard they were gonna put one downtown Erie, but it ran into a little difficulty. Comment made was, you know, there was alcohol involved and they weren't too sure that, and I'm going, wait a minute, we get alcohol all over the downtown.
Yeah.
We got people walking around with beer bottles.
Yeah.
You know, we had that whole article was about the open container law.
Yeah.
I just, sometimes I think, I don't get how we're doing things. You know, we need to, if you control it, it's okay. I'd rather see people
Yeah.
in a controlled environment.
Hey, if they're having a good time and everything's under control, I got no problem with it. As long as they're not hooting and hollering and throwing beer bottles or whatever.
I mean, like they do on East 38th Street? Let's not go there, okay?
No, let's not. No, my other question was, I saw a lot of trucks picking up the equipment today from the Buffalo Rental Company. Now, do we not have companies around here that have like tents and things that we could like rent? Would we not go to them first instead of an outside company?
I would imagine they do. I can get you that answer when I'll talk to the
Sure,
organizer.
sure. I'm interested because I was driving around, came down to pick the truck up
I would
earlier.
believe that he made an honest attempt to get the best deal.
I'm sure they did, yeah. I was just wondering, I mean, do we have companies that
These are
rent out stuff?
these
like
are for rent, right?
it just said Buffalo Rental Company, and they
Mm-hmm.
were like putting all the tent stuff in there, so I was wondering if we don't have tent stuff here, from companies. I know there's a couple of rental companies.
I used to see like the chairs and everything,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah,
I believe that, they used to rent them locally, and if, I know the one organizer, and I know he's very cost conscious,
yeah.
and I know they make every attempt to, try to get local.
Yeah, and I mean, I know Celebrate Erie is about local, so I just wanted to make sure that everything was, tried to get it here local first, like with the bands. I know we try to do local bands, and then we
Yeah.
bring in a big headliner to try to draw some more people in, but it was really good this year because it was a lot of local bands that I recognized, and I was just hoping that we were staying local with vendors and food and stores and rental companies and anything we could, we would go to Erie first, and then if we can't get the stuff we need,
Yeah.
go to outside companies. So
Because
that's just a question.
I've seen big tent companies in Erie.
Yeah, so, I don't know, I'm sure somebody has it handled and they'd go for the cheapest price, but there's gotta be some way to make sure that stuff stays in Erie if this is Celebrate Erie.
Yeah, the city doesn't really fund that, it's a,
Isn't it like an offshoot thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I mean, they're very, with their donations and everything, they're pretty cost conscious.
yeah.
I know they try to do the best they can, but I'll check into that.
Yeah,
In the past, I thought, when I used to see, I thought it was local guys.
yeah, I mean, maybe it's like.
You'd see like Erie Chair and Rental or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I thought that's what it would be, but like I said, all I saw were trucks that said Buffalo Rental, and I'm wondering if that's something that's Erie or.
See, we get hammered sometimes, we buy like police vehicles,
Yeah,
and, everybody's acquitted the chance to do it.
yeah,
A lot of them, like I was told by a salesman, they can't match the price of these
right,
these companies that they'll deal like paper thin margins.
yeah,
They deal in nothing but government.
yeah,
They're taking literally hundreds or not much over. So we do give everybody locally a chance.
right. I figured everybody local would get a shot, and then if they're not cheap enough, we still have to go somewhere else, which I understand. It's
Yeah.
about saving.
You hate to
saving
do that.
money.
If it's real close, I think you
Yeah.
if you're not required to take the lowest bid, then if you're close, you kind of give them a hometown discount.
No, I completely understand that, and I'm not, trying to start anything. I just was wondering.
No, it's a good question because
Erie,
what do I hear about Roaring the Shores, that it's all out-of-town vendors,
really?
and they admitted that. They hire an out-of-town firm, and, they give preference probably to the people they deal with normally,
Yeah,
Locals can get in there, but, they have to deal with the bureaucracies. That was brought up, and I
yeah,
remember they asked Mr. Pontillo about that once, about, why do you go out of town? And that,
yeah. Well, maybe because it's cheaper and sometimes,
See,
less complicated.
well, in the old days, Celebrate Erie was like that. They would bring in these out-of-town carnies,
Yeah.
and,
I like to see it being about Erie, so as long as we can keep the focus on celebrating Erie, then.
At one time, I think and there is always room for improvement.
Yeah,
At one time, I remember when the park was lined with, it was every organization in Erie, every church,
yeah,
every scout group, every,
yeah,
you
yeah. We should see more of that. I didn't see a single.
it was nice.
Or anything.
If you take and I'm not against the guys that come in and sell
Yeah,
the waffle cones and all that stuff, there's room for everybody.
yeah, yeah.
But it's nice when a local merchant has a chance to show you a little bit at a lesser price.
Right,
You don't have to buy a big dinner and say,
Yeah.
what, I don't really like this.
right.
I'll give you an example. There was one gentleman, he had a nice restaurant here, Mr. Bertrand. So he had like frogs out there, frog legs one time or something.
Okay, yeah.
Now, most people wouldn't even touch that, would
Yeah.
But, for a really low price, well, you
Yeah.
say, hey, you know what, this ain't bad,
Yeah.
Maybe I like it. You try scallops or something,
Oh, scallops.
Yeah, and then, another lady brought over a famous peanut butter pie from Puffer Belly, So, I mean, it's good for the locals because,
Yeah,
A,
definitely.
it pushes some of their products.
Yeah,
And it's like, well, I make the joke with people that aren't Polish. They won't eat the duck soup, And you're not gonna go in there and buy a big bowl of duck soup at whatever it costs if you know.
Yeah,
But you might buy a little cup.
yeah,
You know,
exactly,
for $1 or something. You say, well, you know what?
Try it.
I'll try it, just
Yeah,
once.
that's cool.
And that's what, I think that's what these things do. If they're,
Yeah,
if the locals can do that, then all of a sudden, you come in, you go, that's not a bad place. I think I'll try it.
yeah.
And that's a good part about
I'd
it.
love to see that. I'd love to walk around and sample a whole bunch of stuff from all the local restaurants, and I think we should have more of that.
Where did I see, I saw it in Chicago, they call it a Taste of Chicago. And for like the weekend, they lock off all around Soldier Field, along the lakefront, along the park.
Right.
And that's all they got is all local merchants,
Oh,
You go in there and you get you get some from a place you would probably,
Yeah,
you're not gonna go there, and, the average person's not gonna go up in maybe the 50th floor of a building and.
oh, sure. But then let them come down to the people.
Yeah, and they come down and they go, you know what, this ain't bad, and I did have some, and it spreads the word.
Yeah.
And maybe you take your wife the one time now.
Exactly. It's word of mouth.
That's what, if anything disappointed me, I was in Minneapolis and St. Paul,
Yeah.
and I said, I wish we had more rooftop restaurants here. We don't have any, I don't think.
Right.
Go ahead, caller.
Hi, DJ. Hi, Chaz.
How you doing?
How's it going?
Don't pick on DJ now, he's getting worried.
Is the day after tomorrow a city council meeting
Yes, it is.
at 7:30?
No, it'd be the first, I don't have my calendar.
No, your
What's the
calendar's
date?
not here.
The 20th?
Yeah, that would be an evening meeting then. If it's a third week, it's the evening meeting.
Is there still more voting to be taken on the parking ramp down at the convention center?
Well, we're gonna either, I looked on the agenda, and we're either going to give them permission to do it or not, to exceed the height requirement. But actually, the parking ramp will not, that doesn't fall, if I remember right, that doesn't fall under what we're only debating the hotel.
Oh, just the height of the hotel?
Yeah, I think that's the only thing, well, yeah, because it's higher than our waterfront zoning permits. But I believe the parking ramp is under the limit. I got to check my notes, but I believe that's under the limit.
Oh,
But I was displeased where they're going to put it. I was hoping they would put it on the parking lot of the Civic Center and leave the GAF property a little more open.
oh, is this ramp going to occupy some of the GAF site?
Yes, because what they're doing, the hotel's going to wrap around the convention center on the backside. It's going to be, you have to look at a drawing, but it's going to be an L-shaped hotel. It's going to wrap around the loading zone, and it's going to be, where the loading zone is, they're going to raise it and have a patio so trucks can drive underneath there. Still service convention center, but won't interfere with the hotel. And it's going to be a 4-story hotel, but the height will be, a little bit higher than permitted. And then the parking ramp is going to be a little, it's not truly southwest, but it's like southwest of the hotel. And it'll actually be on the GF property. It'll be the first building built on that site.
So they're already using some of the GAF as tax-exempt property.
I believe the ramp will be tax exempt.
Yeah. So is that parking ramp going to be entirely on the GAF site?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Yeah, unless I looked at the drawing,
Going to be on next Monday?
unless I looked at that drawing wrong, that's where I saw it. No, it'll be at our meeting Wednesday, and
I mean, are you going to have your show next Monday?
I'm planning on it, yes. It's not Labor Day, I don't think.
No, not yet. Not yet.
No, I should be here Monday. But I think that meeting is, if that's the third, was it the third Wednesday?
Nothing on the calendars. I don't know.
Oh, I believe, yeah, because this is the 20th, so it's definitely not the first week of this month, so it's a night meeting.
Yes, okay.
You coming, or?
I'll be looking for it on Channel 9.
Yeah, I'm going to spend the next 2 days reading the tapes, because I wasn't at the last meeting, so I'm going to be going over the tapes of the council meeting and the public hearing. And I want to see what the issues are, and I still have time to, contact some people that had issues with the project. I know there was some talk also about a stairwell that was involved for public access, so we're going to check that out, and I can guarantee you my vote is not always, even though the paper may have said I'm leaning that way, which, I don't think the project's bad, but I think we got to get some things out of the way before, I lend my vote.
Yes. And what percentage of the GAF property is the parking ramp occupying?
Well, it won't be a big portion. Actually, what it's going to do, it's going to cover, they got an issue down there with underground contaminants, so you can only put certain things on that piece of property. And the parking ramp is what they picked. But we could have put other things there that would have qualified too, and that's why, I was hoping we'd come up with something else.
Yeah.
But it's not there's plenty of land left yet. The parking ramp will be built so it's expandable if they want to. And it will have at least if I remember right, 2 stories on the front of commercial. There's going to be 2 possible commercial properties that'll be on the front of the parking ramp that they're facing the water, that can be leased out or rented out. And then they'll be able to, if the need is there, they'll be able to put some more businesses down the one side of the parking ramp. So they're building this parking ramp so that part of it can be hidden as a ramp.
Would those businesses be getting a LERTA or some other tax exemption?
Well, that's going to be a good question. That hasn't come up yet. And I know there's always issues about, it'll be coming up shortly, about certain businesses, whether they're entitled to be tax exempt or not.
Already the first occupant on GAF gets a tax exemption.
Well, I'm not positive, but I think it probably will be, but see,
the parking ramp itself is tax exempt, that's the first.
It's not built. Well, the thing is, see, it's part of the hotel, so I want to see. I don't know how they're going to approach that, but I imagine they'll try to lock it in so it's tax exempt.
Oh, of course.
And that's why I agree with the mayor that on the GF site we need to get as much taxable things on there as we can. We need some revenue in the city, and our taxpayers need some breaks. So.
Does this parking ramp fall under the area parking authority?
No, it won't. Much like the Sheraton parking lot does not fall under them either.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, I think I'm not sure if the Sheraton is part of that ramp is part of the Sheraton or administered by the Port Authority or the Convention Authority. I'm not sure, but it's not by the Erie Parking Authority. I can tell you that.
Oh, you're talking about the Sheraton's parking ramp?
Yeah, that's not EPA, and either will be this one.
Oh, this one won't be either. Oh.
No, it's going to be tied in with the hotel, so it'll be interesting once they get. I'll bring those questions. I'll try to get the answers to that question.
Yes. Authority. Will the Port Authority have control of this parking ramp?
Well, it might be under the Convention Authority because that's there's you got 2 authorities in that area there. Where the convention center is, that's a convention center property.
Okay. Will you be able to clarify that at Wednesday night's meeting?
If I can get an answer, I will make during my commentary.
Okay.
When the vote comes up.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering some of my questions.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you're interested because how we handle that project is huge.
Yes, especially since they're getting more tax exemptions.
I know council and the mayor, most of the people I've talked to, they want to see stuff there that's going to pay taxes and be there for the public. Things that the public can do and have fun with.
Yes.
And, we all hope that because, it's one of the few things we can put on the bayfront yet,
Yes. And we're running out of space.
Right, I mean, you go to other towns and the bayfront is, you go to other towns like up in Duluth, they use their whole waterfront is big. And if you go in the Door County, Wisconsin, that whole peninsula, like from Green Bay up, is huge. I mean, the amount of tourism, they got as much as they can on the water, and that's big, And we got this marvelous lake and bay, and we need to, use it. It's one of our biggest assets, and too long we've been sitting around on it,
Yes, and the public access becomes more restricted, it seems.
Well, yeah, and you got people, let's face it, we got the ability to use that for out-of-town fishermen, out-of-town boaters. We can put businesses there that cater to these people and cater to the local people. So, we can go down there and, at night have a nice meal, maybe have your favorite beverage on the waterfront, listen to some music, be able to stroll along the waterfront, I've seen that in other towns. That's what I want to see here. I don't want to see, shut down city.
Yes, okay. Well, thank you very much for...
Hey, thank you for calling.
Have a good day, and DJ also.
Okay, see ya.
The RLS.
He's gonna rub that in every time.
Yeah, he likes you. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I called last week about the light shining in my window from the Erie days.
Oh, I wasn't here last week.
Well, I mean the week you were here. I
Oh.
talked to you and the guy that was in the red. But anyway, somebody did something good because it did not shine in my window this year.
Wow, that's good. Maybe they were listening. They do listen to the show.
Yeah.
Well, they told me to call this man, Mr. Rush, and I did, and he did great. So
Fred did? I gotta give Fred a big hug.
it's good.
He's a good guy, he's the mayor's go-to guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why, when you got a problem, Fred's got the experience to get it done.
I just wanted to call and thank him publicly and you for giving me the name.
Okay, and I
So,
will.
thank you very much.
Yeah, because he's going to be tied in with, with the Celebrate Erie more. And I'm glad, and I will actually, when I see him, I'll thank him again for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm glad he come
Bye-bye.
through for you. Thank you. That's good news, Ed.
I have questions. I have a number of questions before the phone rings. I need a basic answer as to what exactly is LERTA, because I'm not big on politics. I'm not big on a lot of this stuff.
It's a, hang on a second. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kent, you never called me.
Lloyd, you're right. I just got back from out of town. That's part of my problem. You know what? I apologize. I just got in town literally this weekend, so let me make a note to call you, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to put it right down here, and I'll put it in my phone as I leave here. Call Lloyd immediately, okay?
Okay, you coming this weekend?
Yeah, I'll be there sometime. It'll be amongst many other things I got to do, but we'll be there.
Oh, okay.
I can't miss that Father, we got Father Tom there now.
Tom outside.
Yeah, he'll banish me if I don't show up there. He'll keep me at the penance for so long I'll never leave.
Oh, okay.
You're going to be there, I know. You got the front row seat.
Yeah, I'll be there. Okay.
Okay, Lloyd. I have to take you with me.
No. Okay. I won't be in town.
LERTA is a tax exempt program,
Okay.
and it was for a period of years. We changed it a couple times, but under the one mayor, it was around the whole city. Sometimes they only put in certain zones to encourage development, and what happens is, go ahead, caller. Go ahead, you're on.
Kaz, I just wondered, who picks up the couches that were on the 600 block of East 38th as well as the 1400 block on East 38th?
My guess would be that, and I would have to ask them upstairs.
Is that the city that's picking up couches or is that the landlords?
The landlords are supposed to do it, But to be fair to you, and I'd be lying if I didn't tell you this, that, rather than leave them out there for weeks, sometimes our people do collect them.
So, in other words, if we would put a couch out, they'll pick it up.
They're not supposed to. I'm going to find out about this one, because one of my biggest gripes is that if we got to pick it up, then we should lien their property.
That should be the responsibility of the landlord.
Yeah, and usually if they're turned in, and I've made it real clear when I turn them in that I don't want our people picking them up, because...
Yeah, the ones on 38th Street, the 1400 block, they were there for about 3 weeks.
It was probably the new kids coming in and got rid of the old ones, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, because the old kids don't want to, what block was it, 600 and...
And 1400.
600 and 1400?
North side, of course, on the north side of the street.
Okay, on East 38th, of course.
Yes.
600 and 1400?
Mm-hmm.
That's way on the other side of Pine Avenue, right?
That's the one that was out there for about 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's on the other side of, that's near Burton almost, isn't it?
Past Burton, I think.
Wow. Yeah,
we were just wondering if because there's no spring cleanup is done.
Right. I know if they're turned in, they're supposed to contact the owners. But, sometimes our guys pick them up.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about that.
Anybody coming into town for Celebrate Erie going through that street, you had a lot of trash there.
Yeah, it's a shame, and one of the things I think our spring cleanup is like, I know why we have to do it, but the trouble is the kids move out a week or two later, so those couches come out then, and now they're all moving back in, and probably getting rid of stuff they don't like, and they don't know the rules, but...
No, they're given the rules, but they just don't pay attention to them.
Well, we hope they're given the rules. We don't know that, that's the trouble. You would think the landlords would do that, but...
The landlords don't, but I think the neighborhood watch group does.
Well, I'm glad they do, because, yeah, the areas... Yeah, then I came back and I was surprised that, and I'm going to check on this too, that 2 properties below my hill all of a sudden got their whole front lawns paved.
Yeah, on 38th Street there's something too. There were two homes that were paved in the front.
Yeah, right below my street, Stanley.
Uh-huh.
We're like right near where Break Iron used to be, and a little bit up from Marion's Barber Shop. Yeah, 2 big properties, and I'm going, I'm betting those are going to be student housing.
Either that or a business will go in there, but...
Yeah, business I could live with, but student housing, it's going to be, here we go.
It's going to be student housing in time.
Yeah, and then that means my street's going to get the parking up and down there, and my neighbors will have to put up with that crap.
Yeah.
I've already seen 2 friends of mine move out of the neighborhood, and that's not good.
Nope. That's what's happening.
I think you know what I'm talking about too, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had to say goodbye, and that wasn't very pleasant. And, if it keeps going, I don't know what's going to happen up there.
Because they're putting more students out into the area, so...
Yeah, and you know what? That's okay. I'm not against it. But if they don't act like proper adults and residents of the area, then we got a problem.
And a lot of them don't act like...
No, I mean, that's to say that all renters are bad is not true, but if they're not going to act properly, then we got a problem.
Right.
In my days when I was a renter and I lived on West 22nd Street, and most of the houses there were rented, parts of them. Yeah. But you never had this kind of problem. People mowed their lawn, people didn't party all night. It's a different breed.
Not where the kids are living.
Yeah.
They have rags in the windows. The grass is uncut.
I asked somebody about, I asked my nephew, and I asked my brother-in-law about how they did it at this other university, a very prominent one. And they explained how they did it. And it's so simple that I'm surprised we don't do it. And it's been brought up many times, but nobody wants to touch it.
Oh, my grandson, where he graduated from, there is no parking allowed on the front of the property.
Right.
You can't put concrete or asphalt, anything like that in the front. Parking is in the back of the residence.
Yeah, we're supposed to get permission to do this, but I'm going to bet that the properties that do this didn't get permission.
I bet those 2 that are doing that up on 38th, I bet they didn't get a permit for that.
Nope, and I wish I had been home, because by the time I come home, it's already in.
Yeah, it's too late once it's in already.
Yeah, but I'm gonna check, and if they weren't okayed, I'm gonna try to find out, who I yell at.
Okay, thanks.
Because a rule's a rule, if we gotta play by the rules, let's play by them.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll find out about at our next meeting.
Okay, I'm gonna try to be there. I was out of town last one.
Yeah, it'll be the week after Labor Day. Monday after Labor Day, we'll have the next meeting.
Okay, so we are gonna have one then.
Have one, right.
Okay, I'll put it down on my calendar.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll see you over at the watch meeting then.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be a couple of people shy though, so.
Yeah. See you at Zabava.
See you there too. Hey, we're gonna bring DJ down for some, charnina.
Here you go.
The public wants and demands it. What?
So if they paved their parking lot, their, grass and turned them into parking lots and they didn't get permits, can't they be fined? for
You would
not
think they
getting a
would,
permit?
but will we do it? That's a good question. I can complain as a councilman, that,
I wonder what's cheaper, paying the fine or paying for the permit?
I would think the permit. I mean,
Yeah.
most of the time, we're not gonna deny it. It's just a fact that you need to look at it and make sure it meets all the requirements.
Yeah,
It's just like easements out here in the street. We very rarely turn them down, where
Yeah.
you put tables out there.
yeah,
But you need to have certain rules in effect, like insurance that indemnifies the city.
Yeah.
So that we're not held
Yeah.
liable,
What about pipes and stuff running underneath?
Yeah.
All the sewer lines and water lines run underneath that, and if all of a sudden that grass is not able to be dug up, we got problems.
Yeah.
So definitely there could be an issue there.
Yeah, but you know what? Nobody seems to care. But getting back to LERTA, LERTA
Yes.
was originally designed, and there were many programs. There was Keystone and LERTA. They come out with them all the time.
Okay.
LERTA was designed to target certain areas that were in need of a better term, a little boot in the backside.
Okay.
Okay, you dealt with, an example would be the East Bayfront where you see today, Sunburst Electric.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
chiropractor, I think,
Right.
down there.
Right.
Okay, in the old days, you looked at that land, who'd really want to build there?
Yeah, yeah. Right,
It
exactly.
was just downwind from the sewer plant.
Yeah.
It wasn't most, prime, but if you make it attractive
Yeah.
by allowing them, tax-free for a while,
So it's tax-free for a while.
For just a while, right.
The basics of LERTA.
and then if you look at Niagara Pier, where those houses are,
Yeah,
that was another example.
Okay.
Okay, to get people to move there originally, it looks like a simple idea now, but
yeah,
when you thought about it, putting a house down there with all that wind and rain and
Yeah,
snow,
yeah.
but a beautiful view in the summer.
Sure,
Right?
yeah.
It worked,
I would love to live
okay?
there.
It worked, right?
Yeah,
And that's how the program was originally designed, like you would take an area that's in trouble,
yeah,
really needs something to kickstart it.
yeah,
So you encourage people to fix up the house, and by doing that, you give them alert on the part they fix.
okay, so, but after a certain amount of time,
It
you pay
expires.
taxes.
Right, it expires.
Okay. Have we ever had a problem with that? Have people been like, well, we haven't been paying taxes, so we're gonna keep not paying taxes? Or-
I don't know for sure.
Yeah,
But here's another big example, which really worked out great for the city.
yeah,
When Erie Insurance was challenged as to whether they should stay downtown, we gave them many tax exempt programs, like I think one was Keystone, a couple Lertas. And what they did was, for a while they were tax exempt. The return was, when they were done, they paid taxes.
yeah,
They have hired people to work.
yeah,
They have increased the employment.
Right.
They've definitely increased if you remember how that used to look there in the old days,
yeah,
it wasn't the most desirable part of the city.
sure,
And they've upgraded that area. Now they're a taxpayer,
Yeah.
providing employment. It looks better. The parking ramp's an example. So those programs, if they work, if they do what they're supposed to do,
so that's LERTA's good.
yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kaz, how you doing?
Good.
I got a question there for the cat guy.
Ooh.
Are we going to be able to buy copies of DVDs of like the Cheap Trip show or anything like that?
The answer is yes.
Ooh, wasn't looking good last time.
I have been told by Paul that we had permissions from all the bands, so I will have them available in a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay, and then would it be like the individual bands or is it going to be like the whole
Individual bands, like per band. There'll be $15 a DVD, and if you're interested in one band, you could just buy the one band.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to check on that, because it was a pretty good show.
It's a good way.
Well, I saw them when they played out the field house back
Oh,
in the
yeah,
late
Cheap
70s.
Trick was cool.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, you go back too,
That
huh?
brought back some memories being down there Saturday night.
You know what's scary, when they were talking about Steppenwolf, when he played Roar on the Shore?
Yeah.
I remember seeing them again and for about $6.50.
Oh, yeah, I've seen quite a few shows there, too. I can't think of what's the name of the one band from down Pittsburgh. I can't think of the name of them now, but I saw them there down at the Gannon Auditorium. But, yeah, I saw quite a few shows out at the field house there up by Route 90.
They had some great shows out there.
Oh, yeah, real good shows. In fact, right after Bon Scott died in AC/DC, it was Brian Johnson's first show. That was the first place they played in the United States, was at the Erie County Fieldhouse.
Wow, I remember, I think Ozzy Osbourne played there, and...
Oh, yeah, I saw Ozzy Osbourne. I can't even describe how many.
Karen and Richard Carpenter played there.
Yep.
Roberta Flack.
Yeah, that was back when it was general admission, where you just crowd in on the floor, and luckily I was a big guy. I could muscle my way to the front pretty easy.
I used to watch it. I saw
lots of people getting smothered in there. I've seen people passed out on their feet and never hit the floor.
I saw them laying on the front lawn, trying to get them revived.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were so out of it that you couldn't believe it. But you know what? There's a book written. I'm trying to get a copy of it. Some guy wrote a...
Yeah, I've wanted to buy that book too, and I've never made it down to the bookstore to get that, of the old field house.
Yeah, because you know what?
I can't remember the name of it, but...
I saw a lot of great things there. I mean, there was the Russian hockey game where they played our Erie Blades.
Yeah, back then there was the Blades, the Golden Blades.
And they got beat by the team that the USA beat.
I think I still got a drawer full of hockey pucks from up there.
I had them, and they got mixed up, and I'm so mad because I had them organized.
Yeah.
But I had one from the famous game with the Hampton Aces. When they had fog on the ice. It was late in the year, and
Yeah.
I was down there all the time, and I missed a big boxing match though with Lou Bizarro.
No, I didn't see that either.
And it was quite.
I think that was in the early '80s, wasn't it? I think I was in the Navy at that time.
Yeah, you know what? It's amazing how for a small place, they really got a lot of top shelf entertainment there.
Yeah, well, back then things were general admission, so you could get a lot more people in there than was supposed to be in there. And once I forget what concert it was the Who concert up there in Toronto, where 15, 20 people died in general admission. After that, all concerts everywhere were pretty much arranged seating. And
yeah, I remember Sly and the Family Stone played Gannon.
Yeah.
And
I saw quite a few good bands down at Gannon.
And you sat down on the carpet, remember?
Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to call and see if that was available.
Well, I'd like to get together with you and reminisce.
I think that'd be a pretty good DVD to own.
Yeah, I got to get together with you sometime and reminisce.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Give me a call in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
I need time to get them. I gotta get them burn off a hard drive, and then make sure I get the copies all compiled, and then the city gets their copies, and the bands get their copies, and then we have 5 minutes.
What's that? He looks like the catcher in baseball. 5 minutes. But, it was, this guy, I'd love to talk to him, I tell you, when you look back at it, the field house is really an interesting place.
Yeah, cool. I don't know what that is, actually.
Oh, if you go out Route 8.
Yeah, I know Route 8.
And it's right as you're heading south on Route 8.
South on Route 8, past 90?
It looks like a big, A building, Quonset hut.
Okay.
It's right next to, like, where Wendy's is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what's in there, Mashina or something like that. It was a huge, it wasn't very big. It was like, for hockey, maybe 4,000 or something like that. But man, did they get the concerts. And like he said, they used to haul people out of there, like, under there. You just, couldn't take it anymore, They'd run out of water. They had to bring sometimes the volunteers had to come in and pump water down in the well.
Wow.
That's before the water was pumped out there. Oh, they had some great classic hockey matches. It was some of the best, you know. You know, at the time, it was a big jump from Gannon Auditorium to the Fieldhouse, and it showed what you could do. And then when the Civic Center came, you know, the Tuyo Center, all of a sudden,
Yeah.
now we saw what, but, yeah, I'll tell you about the alert a little bit more.
Okay.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kaz, how are you today?
I'm doing good. I recognize the voice.
That's 38th Street between Washington and Green Garden where Teletron used to be.
Yeah, I see something's going on there, right?
Yeah, but you know what it is, Kaz? It's church.
Oh, no.
You know, and it was a $600,000 or $700,000 price tag. So let's just use that as a basis for the taxes. That's about a $25,000, $30,000 loss.
And here we go again.
You know, and you don't make that stuff up. You know, I don't see anything. You know, you're voting on a hotel that's going to build a parking ramp on the most valuable 10 acres of property we have, and you know, I guess I just don't understand it.
And I, you know, if they wanted to build that on the parking lot, I had no problem, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, raise it up. And you know something, Kaz, there's a reason why they can't or won't. Somehow they probably got some money and used surface parking as a reason for getting it, and they're probably limited as to when they can alter that.
Then tell us the truth, you know.
You know, it's like the bump outs on State Street. Those aren't going anywhere until the time expires for the reason we used to put them on State Street.
Well, that's true, because if you break your promise, you got to pay it back.
Yeah, you'd have to pay it back. So something's fishy with that.
I just, you know, here we go again. And correct me if I'm wrong, and some gentleman asked me, and I know you had a little experience. The parking ramp will be tax exempt, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, they sure will.
Because they're going to tie it into the hotel. The Sheraton's not taxed, right?
Yeah, they tie it into the hotel. And usually, you know, those kind of building projects aren't done by individuals where you could maybe possibly tax them. They're all generated by authorities and what have you, which are tax exempt just by their concept of what they are. You know?
We need to look at that whole tax exempt law and situation.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then...
Yeah, you know, Kaz, it's a mystery. You know, I chimed into the Times News about they had a survey about do you think that there's enough people to rent all the hotel rooms that'll be available now down there at the convention center? And it was 66-30 that there won't be enough people to fill those rooms up. So, you know, I don't get it.
I'd be interested now what the Sheraton does on a what I call non-event day.
Yeah.
You know, when you got a convention and it's going to be filled.
Yeah.
But I wonder what they do on a non-event day.
Yeah. You know, Kaz, something that TJ was talking about using local people.
Yeah.
Know that we use White Lodging, which is located in Illinois, to run the Sheraton.
Right.
They dragged $547,000 out of Erie, Pennsylvania last year. 4.5% of the growth.
Well, you know you're not going to get Nick Scott down there.
Yeah, we need Nick Scott.
But you know, that ain't going to happen, you know.
And you know, Nick Scott tried, begged to have some naming rights, and they would have ran that hotel. And they said no. They'd rather send $547,000 of our dollars.
If I remember right, Nick Scott proposed a Courtyard by Marriott.
Yeah.
And that's what we're building now.
Oh yeah.
But that was with his dime, you know.
But guys, it's just crazy when you hear those kind of things. And
well, which church bought the building on 38th Street? Was that the diocese or?
Sure, it was in the article, but I wasn't paying that much attention to it. It's not like St. George's or anything like that. I think it was a church further down the road on West 38th.
You know, I'm not against churches, but man, you know, the property is just starting to.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's going away. You know, and in the last 10 acres that we could have used to develop a tax base, we're going to give away for free. So mark my words, I feel like Nostradamus, but there's no tax money coming from the Gaff property. There won't be a penny. I don't think so.
I'm going to check into that, but I think you're right.
Yeah, those people aren't into the, developing anything that's going to pay taxes. They can't survive because they're so expensive to operate. They're out of control financially that if they had to pay property taxes like other businesses, they couldn't exist because that's how they get more money to operate, by not paying taxes. Some of those salaries I hear about. And
maybe it's time we put term limits on some of the board members.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's got to change. You can't have the same people coming up with the same stuff,
What do you think? What do you think of that idea? Term limits for the board members?
I think there should be. Yeah, there's term limits for everything else. Term limits for you, so why not? Hey, and one other thing for DJ. Florida, local economic revitalization tax abatement.
How long was that for originally?
I can't remember those words.
Well, when it started, it's 10 years.
Right.
10 years, and it was a freebie for you paid for the land, Kaz. If you had built a house on a $20,000 piece of land, you still paid for the land that you built on, but you didn't have to pay for any improvements.
Right.
So, and it was for 10 years. It's been fine-tuned and altered a little bit, and there's jobs have entered into it if you get it and stuff like that. But it's not as lucrative a deal as it used to be.
No, I remember when I was on the school board, and we used it to develop the bayfront a little bit.
Yeah.
It actually did jumpstart a lot of projects.
Yeah. Hey, you talk about Erie Insurance. God bless them that we have them.
And they took advantage of those programs, and you know what?
Yeah.
They followed through on them, though.
Oh yeah. And I wish some of these these incentives we have were being used to attract some businesses here. But I don't see anybody coming. We need to work with the people we got here and make them stay here. And then we need some people to get off their hands, quit sitting on their hands, and get out there and peddle Erie and get some businesses in this town. And not just touristy kind of stuff. We need to make something here.
No, we do need something big, and
We do. And God darn it, we got that international property, the international paper property sitting out there. I mean, it's got rail lines, it's got big sewer lines, it's got all the attributes you would need to lure a big customer there, and we can't get anybody here. So, you kind of got to look in the mirror and say, why can't we get anybody to come here? I'm not sure. Taxes probably is one thing. I mean, the taxes in this town are a little high, and it's hard to lure somebody here. But listen, Kaz, I probably got you past your limit here, and I enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, come on anytime you like, okay?
Yep.
Okay, take care, guys.
Thanks for calling, you too.
And with that,
we are all set.
And we got the high sign from Mike that we are being shut down.
Yep, I just want to remind everybody again that the Celebrate Erie DVDs will be available in a couple of weeks. Just give us a call for a pre-order. If you want to call 454-2226, give us a call and I'll make you some copies.
That's 454-2226. 2226.
Yep, and thanks for having me.
And DJ, they put you on the spot today, see?
Well, hey, I had a lot of questions, and I have questions that I want to ask next week about who owns the bayfront and stuff like that. But I don't want to get into it right now. Maybe we'll
give me a head start so we can do some research.
Yeah.
So we don't bumble. We'll find out and we'll disclose your questions.
Cool. Very good. Very good. Thanks for joining us.
See you next week then.
Yep. See you next week.
I got another meeting in there. I literally have one in the other room.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.